As Friday turns to Saturday, we get into the elimination portion of the 2026 MRL 500 presented by the Misfits Racing League. We wish you good afternoon and happy Saturday, Elimination Saturday as I'll term it, as we reach the last chance qualifier portion of the MRL 500. Want to welcome you inside the PGR eSports broadcast booth. My name is Dawson Wise and I'll be taking you through all the action for today's LCQ races from the Daytona International Speedway. A quick start for us here this afternoon, really this morning if you're on the East Coast still, as we get ready to run last chance qualifier race number 1. So we will, without further ado, head trackside. We have got to get going quickly here from Daytona. 2 last chance qualifier races here this afternoon. We'll set the field for the duels coming up later on V-Speed. We'll tell you all of the information for those as we get going here with LCQ race number 1. On row 1, it'll be AJ Maglio in the 0-3. Alongside him, it's Michael Weissman in the 17. Row 2, a familiar face to PGR fans, Vicente Guerrero will go from position number 3. It's Sean Rink to his outside in 4th. Row 3, Christian Rhodes in the 8, Aiden Shrine in the 12. Row 4, starting 7th, will be Tyler Chronister in the 99, and Julian Ricky in the 97. And on row 5, another familiar face to myself and the PGR fan base, Dylan Jones in the 0-1-1. It's Lewis Ettinger to his outside in the 10th spot. Back on row 6, it's Josh Ball in the 1 sporting the Red Bull colors this afternoon. Nathaniel Pollard will go to his outside in 16th. Cody Thorne will go from the 13th spot, a blown motor at the end of his heat race. He managed to find his way into this LCQ by virtue of a very fortunate push in the tri-oval. It's Munatsi Major that will go to his outside in 14th. Row 8, it's Cody Nagels in the 14 machine. The Nightmare Esports captain alongside him, it's the Jack Shack's Justin Melikar. And on row 9, it's going to be Josh Caudle in the 13 and Chris Story in car number 67. Well, I'll tell you what, the stakes for this first LCQ, maybe not quite as high. 18 have made the grid. 18 are going to make it into the dual races. So as long as everybody in here finishes, they should all be going to the dual races here later on this afternoon. More of a formality here for this opening LCQ, but still some things to be raced for. Your starting position in the duel going to be determined by your finishing position here in this LCQ race. So still some things for guys to race for here in terms of putting yourself in a good position later on to make it into the MRL 500 tomorrow afternoon. It will be AJ Maglio and Michael Weisman that bring the field to the restart zone. A long Saturday of racing ahead. Let's get it started. Green flag is in the air. We're underway from Daytona. At the line, lap 1 completed is Maglio. No, it's Christian Rhodes on the outside in the black and red. Budweiser, number 8, he'll have the lead. On the help from Vicente Guerrero, Maglio led most of the opening lap, as his help is Tyler Chronister on the bottom side. So far, 2x2, a little bit of 3 wide further back, though. Guys trying to come forward, and considering that everyone is going to make it in as long as they had started tonight's race and finish all 30 laps, no surprise to me that guys are testing the limits and jumping up 3 wide. First car on the top side is Lewis Ettinger in the 73. He's got Melikar with him. They've got Chris Story riding the rim of the racetrack. Cody Nagels has jumped up there as well. One other car is up against the outside wall. I believe that's the Munatsi Major machine, and they're going to get all the way to the lead. How about this? Ettinger will lead at the line over Melikar and Maglio, but he gets turned. Ettinger gets turned to the inside. He'll bounce off the inside wall. Another car going sideways here towards the tail end of the field. That's Pollard. Cody Thorne gets involved as well. They all spin to a stop. They're all off the racetrack. We will keep it green for now, although Thorne comes back up, still trying to get that car underneath him. And as he does, we'll head back to the front of the field as we'll stay green for the time being. Justin Melikar, the big winner out of that. The 84 goes to the point. Story goes to second, but he'll get hung out here by AJ Maglio in turn 3. As we work to complete the third lap, now guys have calmed down. Single file most of the way back, only 3 cars along the outside of the racetrack. Should not be any fuel concern today in a 30-lap race. These guys are ticking off laps again. Far as my knowledge goes, every one of these drivers will make it into the dual race later, so what they're racing for today is a little bit different. They're primarily going to be racing for starting position in later this afternoon's dual races, and in an aero package that has been as, let's just say, track position dependent as this one has been over the past several weeks, you'll want to start towards the front of those dual races. By the way, those dual races are going to be stacked. Some of the best talent on super speedway racing is coming up in those dual races later on. Third line's going to give it another shot. How about Chris Story? He wants a piece of the pie. Christian Rhodes is with him in the 8. And then there's one more car in line behind them. We'll get an idea of who that is here in a moment. That is going to be the Josh Ball machine, I believe, in the Red Bull. Nope, there's 2 Red Bull cars. I believe that's Aiden Shrine just ahead of Josh Ball. Oh, trouble right at the front. AJ Maglio gets turned. Cody Nagels, Vicente Guerrero. This one will draw the caution as multiple cars go sideways at the entrance of turn 1. And the field will come to a halt here on lap 5. Big break for the Ettinger, Pollard, and Thorne machines that had lost the draft. A few with damage here, including Dylan Jones. You see right there behind Cody Nagels. There's another car, Julian Ricky, back there that's got some damage as well. Let's go back and take a look. Try to get an idea of what started this one as they worked over towards turn 1. Drone camera not going to give us a ton, so we'll go above. It already started, so let's back it up a little bit more. And we'll give you an idea of exactly where this one starts. It's going to be in the center lane. You'll see Vicente Guerrero. He's going to give Justin Melikar a push here on the exit of the tri-oval. And they're pushing a few cars deep. Again, this goes into how these cars have to race in this package. Actually, no, it's not going to be the push from behind. It's going to be the Chronister machine that comes up off the bottom and gets into Guerrero, turns him sideways. Maglio gets turned in the secondary. Nagels goes around. As you see, Shrine try to avoid it. And a few of these cars are going to spin down, but really, I'm not entirely positive there's a ton of damage here. There's a hit there for Dylan Jones. See, the 71 of Sean Rink is involved as well. So a number of cars are technically involved, but no one has severe damage here. Again, Jones has that hit on the right front. That right front is pushed in just a little bit, but I think that's really the only damage that we can see coming out of this one. We'll get another look at it here. Again, as they work down towards turn number 1, you'll be able to see here from the tower camera exactly what I'm talking about. Where, watch the 99, the Walmart Chevrolet on the bottom of Chronister as he tries to line up this push. Actually, no, he's going to get help from behind from Munatsi Major. That works Chronister up the speedway into Guerrero. They both come down and collect AJ Maglio, and it's on from there when the 0-3 comes back across. You'll see a hit there for Cody Nagels. He'll get involved. There you see the Shrine machine up ahead, the Red Bull car. Josh Ball, can he get on the brakes? He's trying. There's Rink and Ricky there at the bottom of the racetrack. And they actually both hit the little hop there towards turn 1. There's one more car on the brakes trying to avoid it. I'm not positive who that is either. That might be the Weissman car. It is. That's Michael Weissman as he tries to scramble out of the mess. So a number of cars technically getting a piece, but again, this could have been a lot worse in terms of the damage that guys sustained in this crash. Let's take one more quick look at it here as they work down towards the turn 1 area. And you'll see guys scramble, but again, not a ton of hits. You'll see the one to Dylan Jones, which produced the damage that we saw on his car, but you see Guerrero, Major, Weissman actually does get involved. You see the 74 getting a piece. Chronister and Guerrero actually come together as well on the far left-hand side of your screen. Jones gets into Maglio, so we'll check the damage on the Maglio car as well. Everybody else, for the most part, just a simple spin, and they all were able to get back going. A lot of guys are spending some time on pit road fixing their damage, but all things considered, that one could have been a lot worse. Justin Melikar is your leader under this first caution of the first last chance qualifier race. There are 24 laps to go in this one. Drivers that were on pit road just a moment ago, of course, all the drivers involved. But drivers that spent an extended time on pit road, Dylan Jones, Nathaniel Pollard, Vicente Guerrero, AJ Maglio, Tyler Chronister, Julian Ricky, and Cody Thorne. So we will get ready to get under the green flag once again. It'll be 22 laps to go when we do. It's Melikar, Story, Rhodes, Shrine, and Weissman, the top 5. Follow them. Josh Ball is in the 6th spot. Josh Caudle is 7th. Then it's Cody Nagels, Munatsi Major, and Lewis Ettinger. Big break for, again, the Ettinger, Pollard, and Thorne machines that got sideways in the earlier crash. They will catch right back up to the field, be able to get back out there, although Cody Thorne continues to sit on pit road, so we'll keep an eye on the 15. You'll see a couple dive to pit road for some more service here as we get ready to go back under the green flag. We'll double it up behind the iRacing.com pace truck. A busy day of racing here, of course. This LCQ ongoing. The second one will be right after this. We will not even end the live stream. We're going to just go to a quick break after this race and get you ready for LCQ race number 2 coming up here in about an hour's time from right now. Maybe a little less than an hour. We'll go green for LCQ number 2. Then later on at 3 p.m. Eastern, it's the Duels over on V-Speed. At 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock Eastern, we will set the field for tomorrow afternoon's MRL 500. Again, that's 3 and 5 for the Duels. That will set the field for tomorrow afternoon's MRL 500, which will go green at 1 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. Again, 200 laps, 500 miles. That one also over with our friends on V-Speed. Want to thank Kyle and the folks at MRL for letting us come out and put on some of their event here this week. It's been a lot of fun. I know Mike had some fun in last night's heat races. And happy to get to bring you the last chance qualifier races. Again, if you're not familiar with me, my name is Dawson Wise. I'm one of the voices of PGR eSports. And definitely a busy week for myself, for Austin Green, who you heard last night, for Michael Triscaro. Busy week coming up for us, but happy to have some fun here before our busy week kicks off on Monday. We'll tell you more about that at the very end of today's live stream and throughout the afternoon as well. Melikar and Story are going to bring us back into the restart zone. Everyone is still running, all 18 that started. Green flag back in the air, and it's Melikar with a big jump on the bottom. He'll bring Christian Rhodes along to the party with him. Topside's got the better help. Story, followed by Shrine, followed by Ball. Little Red Bull connection up top. They'll now lead the top for only a moment. Rhodes thought about it. He'll duck back in line behind the Midnight Racing League Chevrolet of Justin Melikar. Melikar, one of the first cars to transfer out of the heat race into this race that did not make it to a duel yesterday afternoon. Further back, 4 wide. Let's give it a shot back around Cody Nagels. They'll all get it sorted out somehow. A little bit of contact there between Pollard, Rink, Nagels, and Chronister, but they all get it going. Back towards the front, it was 4 wide for the first time. Up front of battle for the lead. Story to the outside. He'll bring Weissman with him, as those two lead the pack back down towards the start-finish line. 22 to go. Make it 21 at the line. 10 up and 10 down. It's Chris Story to the outside of Melikar. He'll get the lead. Josh Ball's going to try the third lane up top against a safer barrier. He was going to take Cody Nagels with him. He'll still take Cody Nagels with him. Those two are teammates on a relatively regular basis, and they're going to take Shrine with them to the front. Here comes the third lane again. Christian Rhodes going to go to the lead here on the push from Josh Caudle on the bottom. Melikar reeling here for some help from Story in the middle. That's going to pull Caudle clear. It'll almost pull Lewis Ettinger clear. Still 3 wide. Third lane not working quite as well that time, though, with Shrine, Ball, and Nagels there continuing to hang right around that 12th position on the racetrack right now, and they'll actually drop out of line. Munatsi Major jumped up there for a moment. Not much going for that third line right now. Single file for the first 5. Back to Sean Rink. Make it 6. Back to Nathaniel Pollard on the bottom. And as soon as Pollard gets clear, he's going to jump out on the nose of Justin Melikar. And again, here comes the top side. They're going to try to reel it in again. This time it's Dylan Jones. He'll be pushed by Ball, pushed by Nagels with Munatsi Major. One car's going to jump up there to block it. That's Pollard. And all of a sudden, there's 6 cars rim riding in the Penthouse District. Rhodes continues to lead here off turn 4. It'll be 19 to go when we get back to the start-finish line. They're going to jump out again around Pollard. So Pollard, the odd man out, up against the safer barrier. Now Melikar leads the middle. He's got some familiar faces in his rear view mirror. Dylan Jones, Josh Ball, along with Cody Nagels. Those 4 race together quite a bit on the weekly super speedway scene, and they are coming to the front and doing so in a hurry. They're already up to Vicente Guerrero in the 4th spot. Melikar hanging on for dear life. That 84 has been all over the place. Big block here up front. They're going to try to split middle. How about that move from Melikar? He goes straight through the center on Josh Caudle, who jumped up to block. They're going to go all the way to the lead. That train rolled all the way to the front. It's Melikar back to the lead with the help from Jones and Ball. It'll be 18 to go at the line. Now Jones jumps to the bottom. He'll have Josh Ball with him. Melikar now to the help of Aiden Shrine up top. Jones, Ball, Shrine go top 3. Ball's going to turn left. He wants to lead here in turn 1. How about it from Josh Ball? He'll move top. Ooh, swung it way wide to Josh Ball there. But now it's Shrine that goes to the lead. Watch out, a little bit of netcode there off turn 2. They all keep it going, though. Shrine went to the lead for a brief moment. But it'll be Josh Ball in the middle that goes back to the front. Two Red Bull cars now on the front row. Ball on the outside, Shrine on the inside. Good work from Christian Rhodes. He's been a really good soldier here for Shrine on the bottom. But the top side with the side draft continues to be dominant so far in this weekend's events. 17 to go at the line. It's still Josh Ball over Dylan Jones and Justin Melikar. Again, a 4-car tandem up top of guys that know each other quite well. As Ball continues to lead that train on the outside lane, almost halfway home here in LCQ race number 1. Ball from Jones. As the field works down towards turn 3, it's gotten a little bit calmer here. Too wide all the way back through the 9 rows of this field, but now the outside really takes over. You see the side draft come into play as Rhodes has to cool off. It's going to bring 3 cars clear on the outside. It's going to bring 4 cars clear on the outside back to Nagels. That gold and black Nightmare eSports, number 6. Back down to 1. Nagel's going to force it a little bit here on Melikar. He'll force Melikar down the hill. The 84 is going to have to turn left. Nagel's filled that gap. He'll bring Munatsi Major with him. Shrine now will be able to push Melikar with some fresh engine temperatures on the bottom. That should rally that bottom lane just a little bit. It's Ball, Jones, and Nagels now the 3-car trio up top. Does anybody turn left here into 3? No, they're all going to hang middle for the moment. Nobody going bottom. Nobody wants to risk it. And this is something I saw a little bit yesterday as I was getting to watch the heat races, taking some notes. And that's on the base iRacing Daytona setup. This middle lane has been very dominant all weekend long. In the heat races yesterday, it felt like if you were in the middle, you were pretty much unstoppable. The bottom did not have much run to it. Now, Melikar is pulled even with Nagels. He'll try to get to the left rear of Dylan Jones. If you push hard enough on that bottom lane, you can still absolutely make it happen down there and make something work, as you see Melikar try to come even here with Josh Ball for the race lead. But if you don't have consistent, solid pushing, you're going to lose a lot of ground in that inside lane, and we see it again here down the backstretch and into turn number 3 as Ball continues to lead, and the top 3 are clear again on the top side. It will be 14 laps to go when they get back. Already over halfway home in this first LCQ race. This line up top extends back to AJ Maglio, who we saw get involved in that first caution flag. He has recovered to be up on the outside, trying to come forward. Rest of the cars are on the bottom, back to Cody Thorne, but all 18 are still in the draft. All 18 are still on the lead lap, which means they are all racing for their starting position in duel race number 1. This is about the tamest that it's been between the heats yesterday, or rather Thursday, and the LCQs here this afternoon. This first LCQ race so far, this is about as tame as it has been in terms of the pushing. And that's going to allow, actually, Justin Melikar to get all the way to the lead. I don't know if he'll get clear of Josh Ball. It's close into the trial. Well, it's very close. He will not quite get to a position of being clear of Josh Ball, but gets back to the lead, so Melikar gets the lap lead at the line. They'll go side by side. Man, a big stack up there into turn 1. Back through Aiden Shrine and Christian Rhodes. Now Melikar is clear. Let's see if he takes it here on exit of turn 2. Sees the run coming, but is going to stay home for now on the bottom side with Shrine. Actually, that run has not yet gotten generated up top. Now he'll turn right as Ball gets back to him, and it's Melikar from Ball. And Shrine, who will now lean to the inside. Almost a bad push there from Ball as Melikar got a little bit sideways, but he manages to hold the car underneath him. We stay green. Man, Josh Ball is pushing all the way through Justin Melikar's back bumper. That was almost disaster. Look at this. Gap to get up. Rhodes and Guerrero both got up as a slip-up from Nagels in the 6. Uncharacteristic for him as he slipped up just a little bit on the push of Munatsi Major. It's going to allow a couple more cars to get up, and they have thrown the parachute out the inside lane. Now, though, Shrine going to get a little bit of help from the Ettinger machine on the bottom. Pollard goes with them. Then it's Chris Story, who led a few moments ago. Weissman is down there as well as they try to get this inside lane cooking, and they'll do so here in the entry to 3. Ball turns left. He saw it coming. The Red Bull Mustang on the bumper of the Red Bull Camaro. A connection there for a pair of Red Bull cars. Don't believe those two are working together. Just ironic. They're both running Red Bull paint schemes. Ball to the inside of Melikar for the lead. 11 laps to go in LCQ number 1. Ball has a little bit of rear end damage. I'm not sure if that's from the crash earlier, if it's from the push gone wrong perhaps in the latter stages of this race. But you see a little bit of right rear damage on board that 1, which may be making it a little tough to push him. Topside continues to roll. Melikar back to the lead. Jones will go to second. I think they're both going to try to take it down here. Nope, Jones going to turn left on Melikar, and he wants to lead. He'll go to the push of Ball, but the help is to Melikar first. Rhodes gets to the push of the 84. Then it's Guerrero. Then it's Nagels, a pair of former teammates on the outside. Melikar, Rhodes. Now Guerrero will come forward to third as that inside lane tries to get it going. They're really struggling. Rhodes wants to go to the outside for the lead. Melikar going to try to stay put in the middle, and now he's going to get hung out. This is a bad spot here for Melikar. Major's going to go with Rhodes, and Melikar's the man in the middle. Guerrero and Nagels both were able to turn left on the nose of Dylan Jones, and Melikar goes backwards. So top 5 clear on the inside, now make it 6. Back to the Ettinger machine in the 6th position as the 3 wide is going to allow those cars to break away. Pollard gets clear. Story gets clear. Weissman will get clear all the way into 3. So now a lot of cars clear, and the onus is going to be on some of the guys from about 5th on back to make the move to the outside. There's the first one. Pollard up. Story up. Now back down. Ettinger back up on Pollard's nose. Schreine's going to look up around Josh Ball as it's all Vicente Guerrero at the front. The brand new black and green Vince Service and Repair Chevrolet goes to the point for the first time today. Got in via his heat race yesterday. And now looks to make a dual start here later this afternoon. Guerrero, a veteran of the iRacing service and the super speedway community, continues to run up front, but now here's a coordinated move. It's Jones and Ball to the outside. Guerrero up to block Nagels, the odd man out on the bottom. He'll wait for the push from Chris Story. Big shot there into turn 3 to Guerrero from Jones. And the outside lane continues to be the dominant one. 4 cars clear up there back to Aiden Shrine. 3 cars tandem away just a little bit back to Josh Ball. Shrine, Ettinger, Rhodes will all get clear. Melikar back into the picture as well in the 7th spot. 8 laps to go. How about this racing in the LCQ? These guys get up. It's not even noon. It's still Saturday morning, and these guys are putting on a really good show here in LCQ race number 1. Still another 30-lap LCQ coming up later. 6 cars clear, now 7 back to Melikar. Might be 8 back to Nagels by the time all's said and done. They're going to peek to the outside, are Melikar and Nagels. Nagels going to jump back down. And a little bit of indecision back there. And a 3-car tandem continues. Look at how well these guys are pushing up front as well. 6 cars clear back to Melikar. Still no moves amongst the top 6. By the way, must have had some kind of incident towards the tail end of this group. Cody Thorne hangs on to the tail end of the draft, but Michael Weissman and Sean Rink have lost the draft. If we get an opportunity, we'll take a peek at what happened to them. Rink is well behind the field at this point. Again, all these guys make it. You're really only racing for your starting position and later on in the dual races. And judging on how important track position has been in the bigger field races, critical that you finish well in this LCQ and put yourself in a good spot for dual race number 1 later. Guerrero continues to lead from Jones and Ball. Shrine goes in the 4th spot, then it's Ettinger, then it's Melikar. No moves off the middle. Now everyone wants to run right in the center lane of the racetrack. As Chronister says, thank you very much, I'll take that free space, but nobody's going to go with him to his aid. And with 6 laps to go, the top 6 cars continue to run clear. Now make it 7, now make it 8, all the way back to Caudle. It might be 9. Back to Maglio. Melikar threw it on the wall, got blocked by the 73 of Ettinger, and Nagels has to shoot the bottom. He'll bring 1 car with him on that bottom side. That's the Caudle machine. Nagels jumps right back up on the nose of Melikar. Now Caudle's by his lonesome on the bottom side of the racetrack. Maglio's going to work around him. Then it's Story, and now it is single-filed out for a majority of this lead pack all in the middle. Nagels grabs the right rear quarter panel of the Ettinger machine. He'll go to the outside. He'll take 1 car with him in Shrine. He'll jump back down. Melikar tried to jump back down, but couldn't do it. Maglio fills that gap. 5 laps to go. The 5 out the flag stand from Barney the Flagman. Down to it here at Daytona. This one is winding away quickly. Nagels to the outside of Ettinger. He got him that time. Maglio, a big slide as he tried to follow that move. It didn't really work. And Maglio's going to get caught, and it's 3 wide here down the super stretch. Nagels the odd man out. Maglio's going to split to the middle. Contact there with Caudle as Maglio took the run all the way to the center lane. Maglio cutting through the field. He started up front in this first LCQ race and now works back to the front for the first time since the crash. Ooh, tight quarters there. Story, Maglio, Rhodes all close together there off turn 4, but they make it work. Ooh, Maglio coming down. That's not going to work. Caudle gets together with Rhodes. They're 4 wide for a moment still. 3 wide trouble. Around goes 1 more. It was Ricky in the 97. He'll spin back up. Only 1 car. Yellow flag staying furled for now as Ricky tries to get that Logitech Chevrolet back going. 4 laps to go back at the front of the field. Guerrero continuing to lead the way. Back down to turn 3. When they get back, it'll be 3 laps to go. In LCQ race number 1, Nagels again to the outside. Ettinger's going to block. That was an offset push, but it makes it work anyway. Nagels, Shrine, Major, and Caudle are the other cars up top. Caudle goes back to the middle lane. Guerrero continues to lead as they try to get something, anything going up against the safer barrier. It's just not working for him right now. 3 laps to go at Daytona. Guerrero will have to make this car wide in a couple of moments, but for now, everybody behind him still trying to stay calm. Maglio gets split. How about Caudle to the center? And Maglio's the odd man out now. Josh Caudle to the center of the racetrack. Still no move from out back to the bottom. Chronister wants to go so bad. He's got Ettinger with him. Now they're going to start to work that bottom lane into the picture here into turn 3. When they get back, it will be popsicle sticks. 2 laps to go out the flag stand. From Barney the Flagman, Caudle to the inside, Nagels to the outside. Almost trouble. Chronister worked up the racetrack. They all keep it going. 4 wide for a moment as Ettinger filled the gap. Now back to 3 wide. 2 laps to go. Ball and Caudle make some contact as Ball tries to hold the middle. Caudle's trying to work up to get in that draft. Ball's not letting him have it. Nagels on the outside. The 3rd lane finally starts to work. Jones turns left. Dylan Jones to the race lead. Nagels to the push of his former teammate as they work off turn 2. Jones and Ball nose to tail here down the super stretch. Jones going to have a decision to make as the outside lane gets to them. Not going to have a chance. How about 3 wide on the bottom? Story throws it on the yellow line and he'll go to 3rd. Guerrero and Nagels pay off the best in that one. Major and Melicar continue to run the safer barrier with Chronister. And off turn 4, it's all Vicente Guerrero. And when he gets back, he will see the 1 lap to go. White flag is up. 1 lap to go in LCQ race number 1. Major to the outside of him. He brings Melicar to the party. Almost trouble out back. Josh Ball getting together with Nathaniel Pollard. On the outside, it's Major. On the inside, it is Guerrero. With his former teammate in his rear view mirror, they're going to try to hold the middle here. That's going to benefit the Guerrero machine if they can manage to keep that line in the center and not get bullied down to the bottom. Nagels, a huge push down the super stretch. Jones going with them. They're clear of Munatsi Major as they work back to turn 3. Now they'll transition to the bottom and just push for all they are worth. Melicar trying to push Major. It's not going to work. And off turn 4, will there be a move for the win? Guerrero, Nagels, Jones. Jones to the outside. He'll bring Story with him. It will not be enough. Vicente Guerrero wins an exciting LCQ race number 1. Wow. How about that? And I'll tell you, for yesterday's heat races, it was a bit of a struggle at times to get some green flag racing. If this race was any indication of what we've got to look forward to the rest of the weekend, buckle up. It's going to be a good one. After that first caution, no more yellow flags and a lot of really competitive racing in this opening LCQ race. And it is Vicente Guerrero that gets the victory. He'll get to do some donuts, and he will start the furthest forward of anyone in dual race number 1 to come out of this LCQ as the Vince Service and Repair Chevrolet gets to do some donuts on the infield. So the victory donuts complete for Vicente Guerrero. We will look at your finishing results here from LCQ number 1, and then we'll get to talk to the winner of this first last chance qualifier, Vicente Guerrero, here in just one moment. It's Guerrero by 63 1/1000ths of a second over Dylan Jones. Cody Nagels will go 3rd. Chris Story goes 4th, and Josh Ball finishes in the 5th spot. Lewis Ettinger goes 6th. Munatsi Major in the 7th position. AJ Maglio in 8th. Justin Melicar in 9th, and Tyler Chronister in the 10th position. Nathaniel Pollard goes 11th, Aiden Shrine in 12th, Josh Caudle in 13th, Christian Rhodes in 14th, and Michael Weissman goes in the 15th spot. Cody Thorne goes in the 16th position. Julian Ricky goes 17th, and Sean Rink finishes today in 18th. All 18 made it in, but you were obviously racing for your starting position. So Guerrero will have the best of the bunch in dual race number 1 coming up later this afternoon. Well, we're going to get to talk to the winner of LCQ race number 1, and it is the driver of the Vince Service and Repair Chevrolet, the 41 of Vicente Guerrero. We'll see what he's got to say about his efforts here in LCQ race number 1. We'll make sure our audio is all set to go so that you can hear what he's got to say about his efforts here in this opening LCQ. It's Vicente Guerrero in MRL 500 Victory Lane in LCQ number 1. Vince, it's Dawson, the broadcast booth. You get a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, look, a fun LCQ to start the day here. Obviously, as we came off the grid, you all knew you were going to make it in. Going into this race, obviously only seeing 18 cars, knowing all 18 made it in, did that kind of encourage you guys to race a little bit harder as a group? Did you kind of get the guys around you to race a little bit harder because of that, or was that the plan all along going into today's race?
No, yeah, that was pretty much the way to do it. I mean, we all advanced here, so we're just getting some good practice time, trying to get in a group, get your team organized, and make some moves and stay up front, and just see if we could finish this deal. Man, crazy race, man. I can't believe I even won this deal, but I couldn't have done it without the teammates.
Well, definitely a crazy race for sure. And look, let's get into the teammate thing as well. Obviously, some familiar faces for you here in this one. I mentioned Nagels, I mentioned Ball, Dylan Jones, the guy you raced with a lot as well. So, how helpful is it coming into a race where there is so much on the line to have some familiar faces around you that can help you and support when you make a move and be able to coordinate moves like that at the end?
Yeah, for sure. Cody and I go way back, so I pretty much could predict, and I could see his car, coming, and I know he's going to be pushing really good. So I took a shot. I seen him, coming from the outside there, and I'm like, well, he's going to have fresher temps, so hopefully, we'll get him closer to the front and give me a good shot, and he stuck with me the whole way. I definitely couldn't have done it without him.
Well, let's turn our attention now to later this afternoon. Obviously, your guys' job is not done. The dual race coming up here in a few hours. What is the prep going to look like for that, and what's your confidence level that you can race tomorrow afternoon in the MRL 500?
It's feeling pretty good right now at this moment. I'm not sure if we're gonna get a fast repair or not, but man, you just got to stay out of trouble, stay clean, and hopefully you're up front at the end to make the transfer to the 500. So I'm crossing my fingers.
We're looking forward to watching that later on this afternoon. Before we let you go, I do want to give you an opportunity on the way out the door. Is there anybody you'd like to thank or shout out?
Yeah, I want to shout out to you guys. I'm not sure if you're by yourself or have a team up there, but I want to thank you guys. And I want to thank MRL for putting on this race, and all the teammates there at Nightmare.
Well, Vince, thanks for your time. Congratulations on the win here at LCQ race number 1. Go enjoy it, go celebrate, and good luck later on in the dual race as you look to race into the MRL 500.
Thank you, Dustin.
Vicente Guerrero, your winner of LCQ race number 1 at Daytona here this afternoon. Well, now we'll start to get ready for LCQ race number 2. We do have a little bit of time before that, so we'll fill some of that gap here as we get ready to go from Daytona for LCQ number 2 coming up here in just a little bit. So that race will be here coming up in about 15 minutes from now. We're going to give you some information between now and then, though, and get you prepped not only for this week, but for what is on tap next week between the folks here at MRL this weekend and also what's coming up for us at PGR next week. Obviously, a huge week coming up later on. Again, LCQ race number 2 will go green at noon Eastern or so. It'll be a few minutes after the noon time slot. We'll run at the same 30 laps, and perhaps we'll have to send some guys home. We'll see how many of the 20 drivers show up for that race here coming up in just a little bit. After that, again at 3 p.m. Eastern, it is dual race number 1 over on V-Speed. They'll have you for that race as the first half of the MRL 500 field etches itself into the history books. And then dual race number 2 will be at 5 p.m. Eastern, also on the V-Speed Network, as the back half of the field, or the second half of the field, locks its way into tomorrow afternoon's MRL 500. That race, 200 laps, 500 miles tomorrow afternoon at 1 p.m. Eastern, also with our friends over on V-Speed. That's the rest of the weekend here for the MRL 500, and we do not take much of a break, at least for myself. And again, for the aforementioned Austin and Mike, who you heard from last night, Monday night, we begin another 500-mile week-long event. It's the 2026 PGR 500 coming up here next week. Heat races Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday next week as we split up the racing. 2 heats on Monday to get us started, 3 Tuesday, 3 Wednesday, 3 on Thursday, and then 1 on the Friday evening slot right before the pole shootout race on Friday night. Looking forward to that as we set the front row for the PGR 500 with a race instead of with qualifying times. And then Saturday, of course, the LCQs and the dual races. We'll set the 40 to 42 car field for Sunday afternoon's PGR 500. Sure to be one of the biggest races I've ever gotten to call. One of the most historic races in series history coming up next week. We cannot wait for that one coming up next week on PGR eSports in the PGR 500. So what we're going to do now is we're going to get you ready for LCQ race number 2. We've got a bit of a break here. So what we're going to do in the meantime is we'll go to a break, and we'll be back around the 11:55 time slot, maybe a few minutes after here on the East Coast as we get you ready for action in LCQ race number 2. I want to thank you for your viewership here of LCQ race number 1. I want to congratulate Vicente Guerrero on his victory. And about 15 minutes from now, don't go anywhere. We'll have more MRL 500 action as LCQ race number 2 takes to the track. Until then, we will be right back. Stay right here. You won't miss a thing on the PGR eSports Network. We'll be back at noon for LCQ number 2. Welcome back to the Daytona International Speedway and PGR eSports coverage of the MRL 500 Last Chance Qualifier races. Last Chance Qualifier number 2 is on track and ready to get rolling here in just one moment. The warm-up is ending as we speak. We'll put cars on the grid. It will be the same format as before, 30 laps coming up, again from the World Center of Racing. A little bit higher stakes here in LCQ race number 2. We've had 19 drivers come to the track of the 20 that were scheduled. So there will be one driver sent home as a part of this LCQ race. 18 in, 1 will be out as a part of this LCQ race. So we will send one driver home here in 30 laps time. Let's get down trackside and get you ready for the start of this second LCQ race. We'll begin with the starting grid for LCQ race number 2 of the MRL 500. On the pole, it will be Travis Owens in the 14 machine, Alongside him in the second spot will be Aaron Johnson in the 78. Row 2, Todd Merkel in that bright yellow and blue number 2 Ford Mustang. He'll go from third. It'll be Michael Sturgill to his outside. It'll be the 3 on the car, the 4 on the timing and scoring. Row 3, Sam Taylor also in a 3. That one the black, silver, and red number 3. He'll go from 5th. It's Hudson Geiger that will go from position number 6. Row 4, Mark Person in the 77. Alongside him will be Andrew Pileshi in car number 81. And on row 5, it's Aaron Brown in the 8 and James Waring in the 13 for Team Dega Pros. Row 6, it'll be Scott Warren in the 76 and R.J. Williams in the 21. Row 7, Tom Keering in the 46 and Joseph Canellis in car number 1. Row 8, Jake Sylvia in the 3 machine. Alongside him will be Stephen Hassett in the 91. Row 9, Austin Norris in car number 57 and Dustin Shepard in the 19. And rounding out the 19 car field for LCQ number 2, it's Chris Schubert in car number 66. So again, the format is exactly the same, except this time, higher stakes. 19 instead of 18 have made the trip. So again, one driver will see their MRL 500 journey come to an end here this afternoon. 18 will head on to dual race number 2 to fill out the field that will compete for the spots in the MRL 500 tomorrow afternoon at 1 p.m. Eastern. If you're just joining us here for LCQ race number 2, you're watching PGR eSports coverage of the MRL 500 LCQ races. My name is Dawson Wise. Happy to be bringing you all of the action for today's second LCQ race event. And an exciting one in LCQ number 1. If that set the tone at all, this one is going to be something here in this second LCQ race. The heat races a little bit interruption filled with cautions and some crashing. In LCQ number 1, though, these guys really cleaned things up and had an exciting race. To determine the rest of the starting lineup for dual race number 1, let's do the same here for dual race number 2. As 19 are ready to go here for 30 laps of action. No pit stop needed. Only thing you got to focus on is the sight out your windshield and making sure you're not the odd man out in that 19th position to lock yourself a spot later this afternoon and go to battle again in the dual race. Travis Owens and Aaron Johnson bring us into the restart zone for the first time. Let's get it going. Green flag is in the air in LCQ race number 2. Lap 1 complete, and as lap 2 goes on the board, this is a lot more similar to what we would have seen last year in this next-gen race car. The outside runs up against the safer barrier, and the inside runs on the bottom and is able to make these big sweeping moves. The first one is Hudson Geiger in that all-blue 36. He's got Owens, the pole sitter, with him, Merkel and Taylor coming with them. Mark Person starting to emerge to the front as well. He's got Aaron Brown as his help. Brown shoots the gap. Brown through the center. He's going to be the push of Sam Taylor now. Person will have to jump in line behind Merkel as they go back down to 2 wide the normal way, let's say, the modern way, I guess, in this new aero package on this next-gen race car. It races a lot differently than it did just a year ago in these very same speed weeks. Sam Taylor is actually going to inherit the lead here off turn 4. He'll lead that lap at the line over Brown and Geiger. So Sam Taylor to the point. Aaron Brown quickly up 7 spots to the second position. Brown, a veteran super speedway racer, a guy that has started Crown Jewels in the past, started last year's PGR 500 here at Daytona, looking to do the same here in the MRL 500 before he attempts the PGR 500 again next week. Pileshi through to 30. He's going to look to the bottom, but nobody going with him yet, as everybody else maintaining the outside lane for the time being. Continues to be Sam Taylor that leads the way, already 3 up and down here at Daytona early in LCQ number 2. Taylor continues to lead. Some trouble almost out back. They're going to go 3 wide. One car's on the apron. That's not going to work out there. Couldn't tell exactly which car that was that got down on the apron. Had to just avoid the commitment cone. That was Geiger, who led a moment ago, went all the way down and ended up on the apron and had to keep himself from getting a penalty there on the exit of pit road, but manages to hold on to the draft and keep that car underneath him. Up front, it's Aaron Johnson that goes to the lead now. The push from Michael Sturgill Jr. And Taylor trying to rally back on the outside with Aaron Brown. The inside gets going again. Very interesting. In the heat races, I feel like the middle was the only viable line. The third lane worked every now and then, but the middle seemed to be the only viable line that was worth really spending a lot of time in if you were going to maintain your position at the front. In these two LCQ races, at least so far in this second one as well as earlier in the first LCQ, I feel like the bottom was able to maintain its ground, if not pull guys forward to the lead. And right here, Johnson, Sturgill, and RJ Williams are all going to get clear to the top side. So the bottom is a lot more racy today. I'm not sure particularly what the difference is, but so far the bottom is showing some serious signs of being a lot more viable today than it was back on Thursday in the heat races. Johnson continues to lead as will be 5 on the board this time by. It'll be 25 laps to go here in LCQ number 2. So these guys tick off laps in quick order. In the second LCQ race, Williams is going to jump out. He wants a piece of the action here at the front. He'll go to the push of Aaron Brown and Sam Taylor. They'll work up alongside Sturgill. Williams going to work up alongside the leader, trying to get to the right rear of Johnson. They'll separate here on the bottom here off of turn 2. That's going to allow Williams a big run as Aaron Brown shoves him forward all the way to the race lead. It's RJ Williams for the first time in this LCQ race. Johnson now all the way back to third. He'll actually lose that spot to Sam Taylor here on the entrance of turn number 3 as the outside rolls up the banking. But here comes the bottom. Sturgill still being a good soldier on the bottom for Aaron Johnson. Going to push him back alongside Aaron Brown and keep that bottom lane from getting buried any further. 24 to go at the line. Still Williams, Brown, Johnson, your top 3. And then Taylor is fourth in that black and silver, the good wrench 3. Sturgill running the black, gray, and yellow 3 on the bottom side. A pair of 3 cars, but easily distinguished here in this second LCQ race. Johnson trying to pull up alongside the leader, but Aaron Brown showing his prowess in pushing so far. He's been very solid early in this LCQ race. Thought he might take a trip to the bottom there to try to get the lead. He'll stay in the middle with RJ Williams here. As Johnson peeks back down to the bottom, he'll go door to door with the Williams machine and actually poke the nose out front to the lead again on the push from Sturgill. At the line, how about 8 laps up and down? 23 laps to go. If they continue to tick them off, this race is going to go by quickly. Again, no pit stop to contend with for these guys in this LCQ race. So it's all about put your eyes forward and go to battle. Try to be the one guy, try to be the guy not in the 19th position. Currently, that position is occupied by Chris Schubert, but he runs alongside Mark Person, so a battle ongoing for that 18th and final transfer position. Williams and Brown continue to run 1-2 with Aaron Johnson to the inside lane. Not much movement here. In the first race, a lot more attempts at the third lane, a lot more attempts to make moves, kind of shake and bake your way through the field. In this one, it's been pretty set since the opening green flag. Besides a couple of cars, Aaron Brown up 6 now, make it 5 from where he started. RJ Williams is plus 10. Stephen Hassett is plus 11. So a few movers, but a lot of guys. Aaron Johnson only plus 1. Michael Sturgill plus 1. Paleshi plus 1. Taylor minus 1. So a lot of guys are right around where they started. Johnson will go back to the lead on the push from Sturgill, as that bottom continues to be pretty viable here in race number 2. We'll see if that carries over to the duels later on this afternoon. But again, the bottom has been a lot more racy here so far today than it was back on Thursday. Ooh, man, Aaron Brown getting pushed hard there by Sam Taylor. Maybe a little bit of heat underneath the hood of that 18. So as he got out of the gas, Sam Taylor didn't quite get the memo. He starts to push. Now Brown back to the bumper of Williams as they try to rally that outside lane. They're back around Paleshi. That's a battle for the 3rd spot, or 4th spot rather. Hassett comes through for 3rd on the bottom. 21 laps to go already, 10 on the board. You're in LCQ race number 2. This one going by quickly. Remember, we had an early caution in LCQ race number 1 that halted things on lap 5. This one, so far, has yet to have a break in the action on lap 10. Continues to be Aaron Johnson and Michael Sturgill that lead the way. Outside now, Austin Norris has poked his nose free. And he goes on the bumper of Paleshi as they lead the outside, but the inside is doing a great job pushing and has become the dominant line here in this second LCQ race. I'm not particularly sure what the difference is, but boy, that bottom lane is awfully strong here. It's going to bring a few cars to the front that weren't here before. I mentioned Hassett. How about Joseph Canellis? And behind them, it's James Waring of the Dega Pros group. That comes forward to 5th on the bottom. He's got the Scott Warren machine behind him. So some new players start to work forward by virtue of this outside lane continuing to work, or inside lane rather, continuing to work. The outside continues to fall apart. Again, not a ton to race for here in these LCQs. Certainly the stakes higher in this second one. In the first one, only 18 drivers started the race, which means everyone made it. In this second LCQ, you really can't afford a big mistake, as one driver will go home and not advance to this afternoon's MRL Duels. Aaron Johnson, a heck of a performance so far for the driver of the black, green, and silver 78 up front. Michael Sturgill being a really good soldier for him so far. Hassett's going to push 3 deep on the bottom and actually really drive this inside lane forward. Norris is starting to figure some things out up top there alongside James Waring. That's as far as they've gotten so far. Five cars clear on the inside again as Waring pulls back clear. Scott Warren is almost going to be clear, and we are 3 laps from halfway already. Brown splitting to the middle, has to bail out of it on R.J. Williams. Brown thought about the split, going to think about it again here in turn number 1. Going to think better of it that time, I think, is Aaron Brown. Down the Daytona super stretch and back towards turn 3. And now the split works. Now they're 3 wide. Norris gets hung out. Right as I went to look at timing and scoring, Norris going backwards in the 57, but only a couple of cars. The odd man out now, I want to say, was the Owens machine that started on pole. Johnson continues to lead single file back to Waring. 17 laps to go. Already 14 up and down in this second LCQ event. Owens has a little bit of help up top now, but not really going anywhere so far. It's now Brown that leads the outside with R.J. Williams, and now they're starting to figure some things out, I think, and get that middle lane back rolling towards the front. As Williams pushes Brown up past Warren, they'll try to get to Waring, but again, they stall out here in turn 3. The run continues to go nowhere, and Aaron Johnson, he's off for a Sunday drive right now, as are the 4 cars behind him. Back to the line, 16 laps to go. Next time by halfway in LCQ number 2. And these guys a lot tamer so far than the guys in LCQ number 1. Brown, now they get it going. Williams was able to get a better push that time down the front stretch. They're past Waring. They're past Canellis. They're alongside Stephen Hassett. And Aaron Brown works back to the front here on lap 15. Outside going to try it again. It's Owens again, I believe. Almost contact there. There is some contact, and that car is in the wall. And Owens is going backwards again. Another attempt. Another regroup here for Travis Owens, who started on pole of this race. Johnson will face a challenge for the first time. Brown got all the way up alongside the leader, and it's a battle for the lead for the first time in a while. Halfway in LCQ number 2 as Brown pokes the nose out front. Aaron Brown outside, Aaron Johnson on the inside. Williams and Sturgill continue to be the pushers. Next time by, it'll be 14 laps to go. Brown all the way to the lead. He'll bring Williams with him. He's not quite clear to the bottom, but going to stay on the nose here of R.J. Williams. Johnson a rally back to the inside, still double file for the race lead. Schubert continues to occupy the one non-transfer spot in the field out back in the teal machine, out back of Mark Person. Those are the last two cars in the pack. The cars battling for the final transfer spot as of right this second. Brown on the outside, Johnson on the inside. Continues to be the way they go up front. No three wide moves and no really major pushes. It's been a little bit gridlocked since Aaron Brown got back to the leaders. Now he'll get a nice drive down the back straightaway. Let's see if he's able to clear down and kind of start to cycle this line forward. Nope, not quite. Johnson rallies to the inside again. Back to the left elbow. Goes Aaron Johnson. And off turn 4, almost trouble. Brown gets turned. He's going to go to the bottom. Williams is going to get turned. Big crash in the tri-oval. Multiple cars involved. Norris, Johnson, Geiger, and the big one. Dustin Shepard's involved. James Waring, I think, is also involved. Sam Taylor is involved. I have to get an idea of a few of the other cars involved as well. This one was big, right at the front of the field. Let's go back and take a look. Now, what happened here off turn 4? They had started to get offset with Aaron Brown, where I think R.J. Williams is going to think that Aaron Brown's going to take the move down to the bottom, I thought, or maybe not. It's just an offset push right there. And Williams actually gets up alongside. There's actually going to be another offset push right here. And eventually Aaron Brown bails. He says, okay, I'm just going to go to the bottom. I'm going to bail out. And then Norris tries to square up with Williams. He gets into the back of the 21. Johnson gets turned, and it is on from here. Look at all these cars that are going to get involved. Norris is in it. Hassett is in it. Sturgill is in it. Canellis is in it. Shepard is in it. Owens is in it. Geiger, Waring, Taylor. Over half the field gets a piece of this one. Big hit there for Taylor on the right front. We'll have to see if that's enough to end his day. There's another 13. I'm not particularly sure which car that is. But there's another one. You see Schubert trying to get through it. In the 66, he just barely misses James Waring. That pink car is Tom Kearing in the 46. He had a 13 on top of the car. It's also James Waring's number, so I just wanted to make sure I got that name right. Paleshi may have also been involved, as well as Scott Warren. They also may have gotten damage out of this. Let's get an idea here. Another look at it. Williams gets turned. Johnson goes across the field, and it is carnage from there. Again, half of this dual race field getting into it. Just past the halfway mark, and some damage on a few cars that could be fatal. We'll have to wait and see as guys scramble away from the scene of the accident. We'll get one more look. We'll go on board with one car as well here in just a moment. I do want to get on board with Todd Merkel is the car I saw kind of fly his way through this. You see there, Williams gets turned across the field, and it's on from there. Watch Merkel. You might catch him here late on. That all-yellow car, we don't quite see him in that angle. But he's the guy I saw really make a nice move to get through this. Let's go on board with Merkel really quickly here before we go back under the green flag in just a moment. He was running at the very tail end of this lead pack. And you'll get a good view of how it starts up ahead, and we'll see how he gets through it. Todd Merkel from the back to the front, just barely missing some carnage in front of him. Best view in the house there for Todd Merkel. As he will be all the way up to the 4th position. So We will re-rack, restack, and try this one again. It will be 10 laps to go. In LCQ race number 2, Aaron Brown and Michael Sturgill will now inherit the front rows. That one started all the way up at the front. Johnson and Williams had been up front for a majority of this race and are now relegated towards the tail end of this field. So it's Brown and Sturgill on row 1. Jake Sylvia, this is as far forward as he's been today. He'll go from the inside of row 2. It's Todd Merkel to his outside. We talked about his wreck avoidance a moment ago. He'll go from the outside of row 2 and 4th. Row 3, Mark Person and Chris Schubert. They had just been battling for the transfer position. Now, 5th and 6th, well inside the transfer positions, are those two drivers. Row 4 is going to be Scott Warren and Andrew Pileshi. And then row 5 going to be Austin Norris and Stephen Hassett. Then you have the cars that sustained major damage in that crash. RJ Williams is 11th. Tom Kearing is 12th. Travis Owens is 13th. Joseph Canellis is 14th. Aaron Johnson is 15th. You see him rolling off pit road now. James Waring is 16th. Hudson Geiger is 17th. Dustin Shepard is 18th. And Sam Taylor is 19th. As of now, Sam Taylor would be going home. In that 19th position, but still 10 laps to figure things out. And we are going to get it going here again with 10 laps to go. Your time is cut into thirds in this LCQ. If you just got damaged and you lost your track position, your job now just got harder. One will go home. It's actually Aaron Johnson that is the odd man out as of right this second. One goes home. 18 will race later this evening in the dual race number 2 at 5 p.m. Brown and Sturgill bring us into the restart zone. Green flag back in the air, and Brown's off to the races. He'll have Jake Sylvia on his back bumper. Really great start for the bottom side. It's going to allow Mark Person to perhaps get clear of the top. He will get clear, and he'll jump to the outside. Big move there for Mark Person. Brown up to block. Person thought about splitting. Is now going to push Aaron Brown in the 18. Sylvia on the bottom will battle for the lead for a moment, but the push is better on the top side. That's where Brown is pushed by Mark Person. Down the Daytona super stretch and off into turn 3 again, and we'll click off single digits. Person turns left. How about this? Aggression for the driver of that PGR eSports number 77. As he'll go to the bumper of Jake Sylvia. Outside, Brown and Sturgill. Sturgill's been the best pusher in the field so far here in LCQ race number 2, and now he's on the back bumper of Aaron Brown with 9 laps to go, rather. Person has Sylvia, then Merkel, and then Scott Warren as the field works 2x2 up into turn number 1. Not really any 3 wide so far. By the way, Sam Taylor has lost the draft in the 3 as he's still got some damage on board that Goodwrench Chevrolet. He's the odd man out as they run, but if the heat race has taught us anything, you have got to get all the way to the start-finish line before you start counting chickens and thinking about races later. Mark Person, huge push on the bottom out of the tandem forward from Sylvia. That's going to work Person all the way forward to the lead, and it's his first trip out front today. Sylvia sees it, though, turns right, gets on the nose of Aaron Brown, and he will lead as they pass the line. 8 laps to go in LCQ number 2. If the field makes it back to the white flag, we will race it out under the green flag. Oh, big push there. Brown to Sylvia. That was a little bit offset, but they keep it together. If we make it back to the white flag, of course, this race is official. If not, we will have overtime attempts available to us later on in this session. Jake Sylvia continues to lead the way. As the top 3, top 2 have come clear. Mark Person trying to rally on the inside of Michael Sturgill. Again, everyone in this pack is in provisionally, assuming there's no funny business on the final lap of today's race. These guys are racing again for starting positions as Taylor is well off the pace. Brown turns left. Aaron Brown wants to lead here in turn 1. He'll have Mark Person coming to his aid. He's going to get him all the way clear to the lead. He may go right back up here off turn 2. Person may go up, though. If Brown chooses not to, they may double up here in just a moment going into turn 3. Merkel's going to come through on the inside as the outside reels just a little bit. As Merkel will get clear, he'll bring Scott Warren to the party with him. When they get back, it will be 6 laps to go. Top 4 clear on the inside, back to Warren now. I want to thank everybody who's tuned in and who's been using the chat. I haven't really been able to look at it much. It's been pretty fast and furious all afternoon to this point. But I do want to thank everybody for coming out. A really nice audience here for the MRL 500 LCQs. If you're just joining us, this is LCQ number 2. Vicente Guerrero won LCQ number 1 about 40 minutes ago. And we'll start the highest of anyone in dual race number 1. All 18 from LCQ number 1 made it into the duel. If you want to go back, it was an exciting race. If you want to go back, check that one out once this one comes to its conclusion. Aaron Brown continues to lead the way. No surprises from me. Aaron Brown, again, seasoned on the super speedway side of things. And continues to be the Pied Piper here in this second LCQ. And the outside is yet to find the magic that it had just a moment ago with Sylvia and Sturgill. 5 out the flag stand from Barney the Flagman. 5 laps to go in LCQ number 2, and it's Aaron Brown that continues to lead the way. Andrew Paleschi comes clear into the 5th spot. Again, these guys don't really have to race very hard now. They're all in with Sam Taylor losing the draft. 18 cars for 18 spots in the lead pack. They're all provisionally in the show later this afternoon in the dual race. Now, their job today is not done. Of course, they will have to run that duel later on. This field will transfer into dual race number 2, which will be the second race later on this afternoon on V-Speed at 5 p.m. Eastern. That will set the field for tomorrow's MRL 500. Down to the trial, we'll have about 4 laps to go. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty of who's going to win this opening heat, or this second LCQ race, and start the highest of anyone in that dual race later on. Brown continues to lead with Mark Persson on his bumper, and I'll tell you, as long as that outside continues to not make any headway, if I'm Mark Persson, you do not make a single move out of line until you get back to the white flag, and even then, I would wait as late as humanly possible. I would be about right here that I would start leaning out of line to try to make a move for the win. You don't want to endanger your spot and put yourself in a position where you could get into a crash on the last lap of this one. 3 laps to go, 7.5 miles left in the LCQs here for the MRL 500. And Aaron Brown leads them back to turn 1 again. But here comes the outside. They've rekindled the magic up there. Sylvia alongside Merkel, that's for 3rd. Sturgill, though, has to back off here on corner entry. They'll lose a little bit of ground, but they're starting to gain it back here off corner exit. Now, if you're a Mark Persson, you got to think about taking it or risk getting buried on the bottom. Inside's got the better push, though. The outside's yet to rekindle it. Here comes Persson. Right as Sylvia gets on scene, Mark Persson to the outside with a push of Jake Sylvia. Brown will be buried on the bottom for now. He'll continue to try to battle back with Merkel. Persson going to go right back down as Sylvia looks to the outside for the lead. Jake Sylvia to the outside with 2 laps to go. Next time by the field, we'll see the white flag. If we get back, it will be official. Aaron Brown trying to bully his way up. He gets around Mark Persson, and all of a sudden, Aaron Brown's back in the picture. Where did Chris Schubert come from in the 66? Schubert ran to the back all LCQ long. Now is 3rd on the outside. Persson trying to get a push here from Todd Merkel. They're trying to rally that inside lane, and they will rally it here down the Daytona super stretch. Persson back up alongside Michael Sturgill. Better push here in turn 3 is with the bottom. Merkel's going to push Persson alongside Sturgill. Sylvia down to block. Persson thought about bullying his way up out of line. Not going to be able to, but now will be able to push Jake Sylvia. And when they get back, white flag is up. 1 lap to go in LCQ race number 2. Out back, Sam Taylor needs a miracle. He's well off the draft. He'll need them to crash here early in this final lap. Big push here coming. Persson to the bumper of Jake Sylvia. Person's going to think about it here off turn 2, but if they continue to fade that outside lane, they may run 1-2 all the way back. Persson, Sylvia, 1-2. The field works back of the banking. Schubert gets hung out of line by Aaron Brown. the outside with one final gasp here into 3. Person's going to have to think about it earlier than he wants to. He gets Sylvia out of line. They catch Taylor right at the exit of turn 4. Person has one look, trouble. Aaron Brown's around. Sylvia's in the outside wall. They're going to drag race for it. Watch Sturgill on the outside. 3 wide photo finish, and Michael Sturgill steals LCQ race number 2. Sylvia and Person got into each other there in turn 4. And Sturgill says, "Thank you very much. I'll take it." As he wins LCQ number 2, he'll get to do the burnout when he comes back around in a phenomenal 3 wide photo finish. We'll go take a look back at the finish replay in a moment. We'll allow Sturgill to celebrate, then we'll look at a replay. We'll get you finishing results, and we'll talk to the winner of LCQ number 2, Michael Sturgill. He's going to do a Jimmy Johnson-esque burnout here on the front stretch. How about this? Michael Sturgill wins. We'll give him an opportunity to celebrate. Tell you what, for a moment there, I thought Sturgill was going to burn it down until the duel race started. He'll park it on the line, so Michael Sturgill will complete his celebrations here in LCQ number 2. Let's go back first and show you what happened coming off turn 4. There was a crash further back. Let's look at that first, and then we'll get an idea of what happened between Mark Person and Jake Sylvia here off turn 4. Obviously, all the finishes of these races are reviewed. So let's see first what happens to Aaron Brown. He's the one pushing Michael Sturgill, and they get a pretty nice run as Person and Sylvia are going to come together here off turn 4. So watch up ahead. Person and Sylvia are going to come together. Oh, Merkel, as he's trying to miss Sam Taylor, comes up the racetrack and collects Aaron Brown. And Brown is going to come back across, collect Merkel and Sam Taylor, who unfortunately is going to be out. You see Paleshi's going to get in it. They're going to crash further back. We'll go back up here in a moment and look at what happens between the leaders. You see Merkel getting involved in the crash. Taylor's going to come back across. Everybody else, for the most part, is okay. Ooh, Aaron Brown and Scott Warren have some contact in the tri-oval. Let's go back. Let's go up front, though, and see the finish. Let's go back. Let's back it up a little bit more, because there's the contact I kind of wanted to look at between Mark Person and Jake Sylvia. So watch here up ahead of Michael Sturgill. That's focused on Michael Sturgill, but watch Person lean to the outside here off turn 4. And Sylvia, whether it's trying to come back up to block or if Person catches him in the right rear, Sylvia ends up in the wall. And now watch as Jake Sylvia is going to turn down the racetrack. Again, not necessarily a bad move. He's got to door bang Mark Person to try to get the win. The problem is, in doing so, he took so much momentum away from himself and Mark Person that Sturgill was actually able to jump around the outside as those two focused on each other and steal this one. And I mean, it was close. It was razor thin close between the top three as Michael Sturgill steals it here in LCQ number 2. Let's get an idea of exactly how close it was between these opening 3. We'll get to finishing results after that. And then we'll get to talk to Michael Sturgill here in just a moment. They're going to come on from the left side of your screen. And as they do, it's going to be very close between the opening 3 drivers. Here in LCQ race number 2, we'll wait for those 3 to come on. There you see it. We'll actually back it up just a little. Trying to give you a better idea of how close this was. I really wanted to freeze this without having the motion blur be a problem. So here they come. They came down to the start-finish line, and as they get there, you'll see the margin of victory for Sturgill over Sylvia and Person. There's your margin of victory right there. What a picturesque finish in the appropriate way to finish this LCQ race number 2. We'll go through your finishing results, then we'll get to talk to Michael Sturgill, the winner of an exciting LCQ race number 2. It's Michael Sturgill by 35 1/1000ths of a second over Jake Sylvia. Mark Person goes in 3rd. Austin Norris finishes 4th, and Chris Schubert finishes in the 5th spot. Travis Owens finishes in 6th, James Waring in 7th, Scott Warren in 8th, Aaron Brown in 9th, and Tom Kearing finishes in 10th. Aaron Johnson finishes 11th with R.J. Williams back in 12th, Hudson Geiger in 13th, Andrew Paleshi in 14th. Stephen Hassett finishes 15th, Dustin Shepard in 16th, Joseph Canellis in 17th, Todd Merkel gets the final transfer position in 18th, and Sam Taylor, unfortunately, is the odd man out. He'll go 19th. His journey in the MRL 500 comes to an end in LCQ race number 2. Well, the winner is waiting on us. The man who stole it from Jake Sylvia and Mark Person at the last possible moment. And gotta imagine a happy camper. He'll start the highest of anybody out of this LCQ in dual race number 2 coming up later this afternoon. It is Michael Sturgill in car number 3. We'll make sure our audio is good so that you can hear him and what he's got to say about a wild ending to this race, and also start to look forward to his prospects in the dual race later on this afternoon. It's Michael Sturgill, the winner of LCQ number 2. Michael, it's Dawson, the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, a relatively tame race, I got to say, compared to LCQ number 1. But boy, did you guys make up for it on the last lap. A wild finish to this LCQ number 2. Off turn 4, you're 3rd. You see the leaders go at it. Take me through what you saw out the windshield as you steal this last chance qualifier at Daytona.
Yeah, I was just going to more than likely stay with Jake, and then he cleared down to the bottom, and I got backed up a little bit, and I figured the 77 would come up, and it'd probably get a little wild. I didn't expect what happened to happen, but once they started beating and banging, I had a huge run and saw a hole and figured I'd go for it instead of trying to push one of them, because if I did that in a race recently where I tried to push someone after they had lost some momentum and it just caused issues. So I saw that hole open up and went for it, and it worked out.
Well, look, obviously today we seem to notice at the bottom a lot more racy than Thursday's heats. It felt like the middle was the only viable lane on Thursday. Now it feels like both lanes are pretty racy, and the third lane can get it going as well. You know, what did you feel inside the car in terms of what could have been different out there on the racetrack, in terms of what lanes worked for you guys today?
Yeah, it seemed like the bottom, if you had the right guys down there, it could stay with the middle lane. And the heats, the middle lane just dominated. So it was nice to see that the lanes kind of have equaled out. I never got up there in the third lane, so I have no clue what that was like. But if it stays racy like this, we should be in for a good main event.
Well, let's start to turn the page and look forward now. Your guys' job is not done today. You'll go racing in the duels here later on to try to lock your spot in tomorrow afternoon's feature. So take me through the game plan for that race and also your confidence level going into duel race number 2 later on.
Strategy for the duels is try to keep the car clean until the end and be up front for the finish. And we'll see what happens. It's nice running. I mean, it's a double-edged sword, but not having fast repairs is nice because it seems to make people race a little bit cleaner than if they had one. So that's the main thing, just keep the car clean and try to be up front at the end of the duel.
Well, today it is an LCQ win for you. Headed into that duel race, you'll start the furthest up of anybody coming out of this LCQ in duel race number 2. So before we let you go and start to prepare for that duel race, is there anybody you'd like to thank or shout out?
Yeah, I'd like to thank you for putting on a great broadcast. All the guys at MRL for putting this thing on. It's been fun. Everyone watching, and that includes my family and my 9-month-old baby. So I heard he enjoyed my burnout, so that's good. And hopefully I'll be talking to you here soon.
Well, congrats on the win here in LCQ race number 2. Go enjoy it, go celebrate, but go get ready. Good luck this afternoon in the duels, and we'll see if we're seeing you tomorrow in the MRL 500.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Michael Sturgill in the 3, the winner of this second LCQ race, and we're going to leave the finish up on screen because that is exactly what it justifies here at Daytona. An exciting one, to say the least, here this afternoon in the LCQs. A couple of exciting LCQs, and I'll tell you what, the heat races on Thursday, there were some struggles with some cautions and some interruptions to some of those races, and I know there were guys that were frustrated with how those races went. Today has started to make up for it and really sets the tone for the weekend looking forward now as we get on into the duels and into tomorrow's feature. So Michael Sturgill wins LCQ number 2. He'll start up front in duel number 2, or start up front of the LCQ drivers in duel number 2. Vicente Guerrero won LCQ number 1 just a little bit ago. He'll start the furthest forward of any one of the LCQ in duel race number 1. We'll start to wrap things up here from the LCQs of the MRL 500. These guys will get a break, but their jobs are not done. These 36 will now jump into the fields for the duels later on this afternoon at 3 and 5 respectively. You're coming up later on. Before we go, I want to thank everyone for coming out and watching these LCQs and also the heats on Thursdays. Had really good audiences for both, so appreciate the support, not only for the MRL 500, but for us over here at PGR eSports. And we will now transfer things over to our friends at V-Speed. Let's look forward on the weekend. We'll give you one more note about next week as well for us for the PGR side of things. Coming up later today, it's the duels at 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock Eastern with our friends at V-Speed, as the field will be set for tomorrow afternoon's running of the MRL 500 at Daytona. Tomorrow afternoon at 1 p.m. Eastern is the feature, also featured by our friends over on V-Speed. So looking forward to getting to watch their coverage of the duels and the feature coming up here for 500 miles tomorrow afternoon. On the PGR side of things, it's almost time for our biggest week. What better spokesman than Mark Person's car to have the logo on the front? Next week is the second annual Great American Sim Race, the PGR 500. That gets kicked off on Monday, so no breaks for guys running both the MRL 500 and the PGR 500. There's really no break. They have to go right back into heat racing next week. That will kick off Monday at 8:50 p.m. Eastern here on the PGR eSports Network as we get you set for some great racing action next week. I can tell you it is going to be a heck of a week next week. I can tell you now for the first time that we have absolutely shattered the record number of entries from last year's PGR 500. Ladies and gentlemen, we have surpassed 300 entries, and we're even opening the field up to potentially more than that for next week's event. 300 plus have signed up for the PGR 500. Drivers from all walks of sim racing will go into a heat race and try to become the next crown jewel winner in PGR history in its most historic week to date. Cannot wait for that one. Coming up later tonight, there is a decent chance you will see another PGR broadcast. It is the 3-year anniversary race, as PGR found its birthday 3 years ago today. We'll do a 3-year anniversary race at some point tonight here on the PGR eSports Network. I do believe that one will be broadcast here coming up later on today on the PGR eSports Network. It will be one of us on the call. We'll see who it is at that point in time. That will be our final broadcast before Monday's opening night of heat racing for the PGR 500. Looking forward to seeing you for that. Go check out our friends on V-Speed later this afternoon for the duels at 3 and 5 o'clock respectively, and tomorrow for the first running of the MRL 500 at Daytona. Looking forward to an exciting weekend of racing and a fun week for all of us next week. Thank you so much again for coming out today, being active in the chat, and joining us here for a day of racing action. Again, be ready to catch the duels here in a couple hours, but go get something to eat, go take a break, and be ready to come back with our friends on the V-Speed Network later on. My name is Dawson Wise. I've been taking you through all the action of the LCQs today. Congratulations to Vicente Guerrero and Michael Sturgill Jr. on the wins in the LCQs here this afternoon. We'll see if they can race their way into the MRL 500 tomorrow afternoon. Thank you so much for watching this production of PGR eSports Network. We'll see you later tonight for the 3-year anniversary race, and then we'll see you Monday for a historic week of sim racing next week in the PGR 500. Can't wait for that. Can't wait to see you all back here next time. Until then, again, I'm Dawson Wise. Thank you so much. Everybody have a great weekend. Stay safe if you're in this bad weather here in the Southeast. Until next time, have a good one.